Alright, we are back in it with Bad End Theater. So last time we got quite a few true endings, and we're kind of at a roadblock with the hero and the overlord. The underling has the potential for 2 more endings to be unlocked before we're roadblocked with him as well. Or them, I should say. Which means that Maiden might be getting the spotlight today. But first, she has to wait a little bit longer. So, let's just see if we can get any other endings. Let's overthrow her. Okay. It's already begun. No! You're sick of this overlord holding you and your friends back. You agree that it's time for a change of management. Your friends suggest maybe you should be the new overlord. You like the sound of that. You announce your first act of rebellion is to take that day off like you wanted. You look like a Fairly Odd Parents character. Your friends aren't very impressed. You assure them you'll talk more about the assassination thing when you get back, which satisfies them. You sneak out of the castle to have some fun. Whee! Alright, then we eat her. And then we leave. I'm out of here. They're very eager to talk to you about the whole kill the overlord plan. You admit you hadn't given it much thought and only just now remembered it was a thing. Your friends question your loyalty to their cause. Okay, what if we... Is this the same ending we got before? Let's see. Okay, yes. So, let's try that again. Same thing, but actually overthrowing her. Boop, and boop, and boop, and boop. There we go. You sneak into the overlord's room. She's taking a nap like usual. This is almost too easy. You silently approach your master. She looks so peaceful. Oh, another trait. Coward. But first, time to die. You figure the cleanest way to do this would be to dig your claws into her throat. So you do just that. She wakes, but not in time to stop you. You watch as she chokes on her blood, cursing you before finally expiring. That felt terrible. You remind yourself it was either her or you, and you weren't about to let yourself get killed by anyone. You leave the room to find your friends waiting just outside. They look pleased. Only now do you realize they must have planned to use you like this from the beginning. You are the new ruler of this castle. Your subjects bow before you. Hey, they kept their word and made you the king of the castle. You live in fear that they will one day betray you as you had betrayed your overlord. Lord Underling. It is the way of the Sith. Alright. That's another ending. But what happens if we chicken out this time? Let's overthrow her. Let's eat her. Get out of here. Let's kill her. Chicken out. You don't want to kill her. You can't go through with it. You turn to leave the room, but you find your friends blocking the exit. In a panicked whisper, you ask them to let you out. This seems to have been their way of testing your loyalty. You tell them this is pretty fucked up and ask again to be let out. The overlord stirs in her bed. While your head is turned, the demons shut the door. You scramble into the overlord's closet to hide before she wakes up and see you. There's nothing you could possibly say to explain this and survive. You're trembling. You can't believe those assholes would bully you like this. You feel like crying. Light flickers at your feet. It doesn't take you long to realize they've set the room on fire. You hear the overlord trying to get the door open to no avail. You're both trapped. Too afraid to move, you resign yourself to your fate. You and the overlord burn together. Cowardly underling. Wow. Poor underling. I feel so bad. Oh, hello! A letter flutters down from beyond the curtain. You found lost letter number 3. But... How do I view letters? Oh, I see! Tragedy? Is this the bad end theater boy? Or guy? Or person? Whatever. Character?
My love, I've been feeling a little depressed lately. Many patrons have come to my theater, but none so far have stayed to experience every tale in its entirety. The critics haven't exactly been kind, but I understand. My stories aren't exactly crowd pleasers. Despite that, you always listen to the very end. I'm grateful for that. Hope to see you again soon. Forever yours, Tragedy.
This music, though. That was so sad. Okay, the plot thickens. Very interesting. Okay, so according to this, I've unlocked every bad end for this boy. Very interesting. So, with that being said, I think it's time for our girl to shine. Yeah, I think we're good to go. Alright. And then we'll see if we can get more letters. Maiden! Look at you! Aren't you just adorable? You've been waiting so long for this moment. Let's go. You are a maiden. You live in a peaceful village next to a spooky demon overlord's castle. You are told that you are fated to be captured by the overlord one day because you are a beautiful young girl. Demon overlords apparently love capturing those. You think of how you haven't heard of that actually happening to anyone. But maybe the demons just haven't been given the opportunity? Who knows? You are in church. You pray to your god, asking why you have been born into this role of maiden. You respect the divine plan and all, but you're really just curious as to what the point of it is. You are impatient. Meeting a demon actually sounds pretty gosh darn exciting. Maybe you'd understand your role better if you were to just hurry up and get captured already. You leave a note and venture forth to find a demon. Just to, you know, see what happens. Not long into your little adventure, a demon underling appears before you. It looks pretty scary. Shout for a hero to come save you or introduce yourself. I think I left this guy defaulted to hungry, so... It's interesting, because she usually shouts for a hero, because that's like her default, but we could introduce ourselves. I'm gonna hold off on that for now. You yell, but a hero does not come. The demon suddenly jumps you and starts biting. A lot. How painful! This plan of yours was completely stupid, you think. Why couldn't you have been more patient? Why did you go looking for trouble? You aren't angry or anything, of course. This was all your fault for trusting a demon not to devour you on sight. This is your punishment for questioning fate, you guess. Bit by bit, you are swallowed by the demon until you are no more. Consumed maiden, immediately eaten by the underling. Okay. We'll leave that for right now. What do I want? I don't want you to be trusting just yet. You can be dutiful and heroic right now. I'll leave you as hungry. Okay, we're gonna try being polite. I imagine she's just gonna be eaten again, but I'm curious. You tell the demon your name and explain that you're a maiden from the village. And then he eats you. Yeah, okay. I figured. Okay, let's turn that off. Sorry, underling, you're probably gonna die in this run, but that's okay. Introduce yourself. I'm a maiden. You tell them that you were thinking maybe you could understand your role better if you were to hurry up and get taken away by a demon already. The demon doesn't seem to have really been listening to you, which is a little irritating. They agree to take you to their master nonetheless. After a long walk to the castle, you are introduced to the Overlord. She lectures the underling that brought you here, who was apparently told not to leave their post. You wonder what cruel punishment awaits them. But to your surprise, she lets them off easy. The underling is dismissed and the Overlord turns to you looking very interested. You explain why you've come and she squints at you. It turns out she never had any plans to capture maidens, or to do anything else that would agitate the humans. You wonder for a moment if she might be lying, but it doesn't really seem like it. Still, this doesn't make any sense to you. You've always been told that demons would one day seek you out and something awful would happen. Then a hero would come to your rescue. You don't want to believe you've been lied to all along. Maybe it's just that you haven't been maiden-like enough. You ask the Overlord what you should do to be a more suitable maiden, but she doesn't seem to understand. Just go home and stop worrying about destinies so much. She makes it sound so simple. The Overlord seems like the complete opposite of you. You want to learn more about her and how she thinks. You insist on staying to talk with her more. The Overlord shares many stories about demons with you, and little by little, you realize they might not be the ruthless monsters you were raised to believe. As it turns out, she commanded her demons to avoid towns and villages. She didn't want to risk giving the humans any excuse to send a hero out after them. You realize that must be why you'd never heard of any demons attacking your town. You express your gratitude to the Overlord on behalf of your village. Something about this music is very Undertale to me, and I just am like really vibing with it right now. She says you can thank her by telling the humans to stop raising heroes. She's tired of her servants getting killed off by them. You've always thought demons were violent and unreasonable creatures, but it seems the Overlord could say the same of humans. It seems like you two are all blushy around each other, if you know what I mean. You may be different, but really they're just trying to live their lives the same as you. You feel like you're starting to understand things a lot better. But maybe everything I've said was to deceive you and the other humans. What would you do if I turned out to be super evil all along? Even if she were to capture you now, you think this place is far more interesting than the way things are back home. You kind of like not being told to expect demons to come after you all the time. You feel free. Honestly, you've always kept to yourself, but spending time with this Overlord has been very nice. You feel butterflies in your stomach. But then a hero barges into the room, covered in blood. This music. His clothes are stained by a dark liquid. It's dripping from his weapon, too. You realize it must be demon blood. Something horrible has happened. The hero suddenly dashes toward the Overlord, sword drawn. Oh, martyr! Dang. That's probably the last Overlord ending. Could even be the last hero ending as her being a martyr. I'll do nothing for right now. The hero's blade pierces the Overlord and she lets out a horrible scream. You flinch. The Overlord is slain. The hero smiles and holds out his hand to you, saying it's time to go home. His glove is drenched in blood. Hesitantly, you take his hand. The hero guides you through the castle, past the corpses of his enemies. You try to keep your eyes at your feet. There's blood everywhere. You shut your eyes, but even then you can't escape the smell. All of this was because of you, wasn't it? You exit the castle and the hero leads you back to the village. Everyone celebrates the hero's great triumph over the demons. You feel sick, but you take part in the festivities regardless. Complacent maiden. That was very complacent of us. Okay. Let's do that again, but be a martyr this time. You selflessly throw yourself in front of the hero's blade, acting as a shield. It's funny, you think. You never could have imagined this would be the way that you die. The roles are all switched around, but it feels right to you somehow. You are glad your destiny turned out to be saving someone rather than being saved yourself. As your vision fades, you hope that everything turns out all right for your new friend. Sacrificial maiden. Well, we'll find out right now. Poor Maiden. I actually really like the Maiden. I liked her in the other ends too, but now getting to see her thought process and everything, she's very brave. I like her a lot. Okay, so you don't eat her. I'm gonna play as you, and we're just going to mow our way down, try to go kill her, and she's going to protect the Overlord. Let's try it. We're slaughtering. We're cutting through. We're being heroic. You lunge forward to put an end to the evil Overlord, but your blade pierces the Maiden instead. She has sacrificed herself to protect this demon. It takes you a moment to recover from the shock. The Overlord wails, "Why did you do that?" You're not sure if the question is directed at you. The Overlord strikes at you in a vengeful rage. You parry and she is slain. Your sword feels heavy. You look at your hands, your clothes. Blood. So much blood. You look to the fallen maiden, wondering what to tell the townspeople. Why would she protect the Overlord? She must have been brainwashed by demonic magic. You pick up the Overlord's head, wrapping it in your cape, and begin your long journey back to town. You will say that you were too late, that nothing could be done for the girl, but the Overlord is slain. There will be celebration. This hero. Loyal hero. Wow. He really talked himself into that one, didn't he? A letter flutters down from beyond the curtain. Lost letter number 1. Let me read lost letter number 1.
My love, it just isn't fair at all, is it? For them to force us apart like this. It's unreasonable, cruel. I had to find an outlet for this grief somehow. So I decided to write. And I'll keep writing until the day you find me once more. And then maybe we could write a story together. I'm waiting for that day. Forever yours, Tragedy.
I swear this voice knows when to come out. It has a certain type of character it loves. And Tragedy fits it so well so far. Alright. Well, let me just double check that that's all done. Yep. That would be that. I mean, there's stuff here, but it doesn't really matter. Yep, martyr. Just gotta get this boy to be dutiful and heroic. Looks like we have to allow the underling to have the day off, though. Interestingly enough. Okay. That's fine. I can do that. So you be dutiful and heroic. You be polite and a martyr. You don't do nothing. Just be chill. Here we go. You can have the day off. You can stay for a while. The maiden shouts something behind you. And you turn just in time to see her throw herself between you and the hero's blade. It pierces her chest and she falls to the floor lifeless. As the pool of blood beneath her grows, so does your rage. This hero has taken everyone from you now. You lose control. And the hero is obliterated. Interesting. Depending on whose perspective you play as, the person dies. Like, the maiden didn't see what happened. From the hero's perspective, he beat the Overlord. From the Overlord's perspective, she beat the hero. But your hatred for the humans has not yet been sated. Oh, that's scary. You go on to destroy them all and become ruler of the entire world. Vengeful Overlord. Wow. A letter flutters down from beyond the curtain. You found lost letter number 4. Yes, please.
My love, do you remember when we first met? I had just finished one of my scripts, one I was quite proud of, in fact. As I read it aloud, you happened to pass by. What a terrible ending, you said. Why should these poor fools have to die? You were so rude. You wouldn't accept any of my justifications. And yet, you managed to convince me. It really would be better if everyone could live in harmony. however unrealistic that felt. I look back fondly on that day even now. I wonder if somewhere you're thinking of it too. Forever yours, Tragedy.
Interesting. Okay, how are we gonna do this now? Let's leave this boy dutiful. Let's have her be antisocial so she sends her away. And yeah, we'll try that for now. Hello. The Overlord tells you again that you should get lost. How rude! You just got here! Obedient, or refuse to leave. Things should just play out the same if we refuse to leave, right? You put your foot down and tell her you're not going anywhere. You still want to fulfill your destiny even if you have to make it happen on your own. She's a little frustrated at your stubbornness, but doesn't kick you out or anything. Hooray! Okay, and then we're just back around. I was curious, that's all. Curiosity killed the Overlord. You don't want to cause any trouble, so you figure it's time to go home. Along the way, you encounter a hero. He's covered in demon blood! You are frightened by the sight of him and run away. You return to the village alone. Everyone was very worried about you. They surround you with 1,000 questions and you tell them your story. As you explain that the Overlord never had any intentions to harm anyone here, you notice the looks of uncertainty in the crowd. People are whispering things to each other while you speak to them. You are loudly interrupted by an older man. He rudely calls you a demon sympathizer. The crowd is growing unruly. You don't understand. You've only told them the truth. Do they not believe you? Everyone begins speculating what must have actually happened. They weave elaborate lies and ask you to prove your innocence. How could you have returned without the aid of a hero, they ask. You could not have possibly escaped the Overlord on your own without harm. You must be conspiring with the demons, trying to trick everyone into believing they aren't the horrible creatures we know them to be. So they say. Have the people of your village always been this blinded by their fears and hatred of things they've never cared to know? You wonder how you missed that before. You are seized by the crowd, and voices from all sides are calling for public execution. You are to be burned at the stake. You don't want to die. You wonder, would it have been better to hide the truth? You don't like the thought of that. You have always lived honestly. So why has this happened? Why are you being punished? You hear the dissenting voices of your family and neighbors, but they, like you, are powerless against the momentum. At least her family tried to save her. They can only watch as you burn, and you can only cry for them. You are so, so sorry. Executed, Maiden. Burned at the stake. Okay. So... now, if we have our boy not be covered in blood, but not trusting just yet. Let's see what happens. And we're gonna obey. He asks you what you're doing. Don't you know the Overlord's castle is, like, right there? You explain everything that happened. The hero seems to think you're lying to him. He asks if you've been brainwashed by the demons. What nerve! You are very upset that this so-called hero would treat you this way and leave in a huff. Okay, and then she's executed again. Alright. Be trusting this time, sir. Nope. Nope. He is very surprised that demons don't seem to be as malicious as you were raised to believe. The two of you return to the village, hoping to communicate this to everyone. They had all been so worried and are very glad that the hero brought you back. You quickly set the record straight. You weren't rescued because there was nothing to be rescued from in the first place. The villagers seem confused and look to the hero for an explanation. He tells them he only ran into you on his way to the castle and that this isn't really his story to tell. You explain to them how you met the Overlord and that she's not actually interested in capturing maidens or other mean things like that. The villagers look again to the hero for confirmation. You feel a little miffed that they seem to prefer his word over yours, but you don't say anything about it. The hero proclaims that he believes your story, but volunteers to go talk to the demons himself, just to make absolutely sure. The crowd breaks into hushed whispers. You hear words like trickery and demon sympathizer being thrown around, which makes you frown. You're pretty shocked that everyone's this hesitant to believe you. Does the hero even trust you? You aren't sure anymore. An old man implores the hero to go speak with the Overlord immediately. He says you should be held prisoner and considered dangerous until the hero returns. Much to your disbelief, the crowd agrees with him. Because of course, if you were conspiring with the demons, they can't afford to let their guard down. The whole village would be slaughtered by monsters. The hero isn't saying anything. You'll be tied up and tossed into a cell at this rate. If you're going to be held captive by anyone, it's going to be the Overlord, not your fellow countrymen. Ooh, we can grab the hero and run. I'm so curious about that. First, we gotta do what we've known all this time. You can prove yourself without anyone's help. You make a run for the Overlord's castle, leaving the hero behind. But as you get closer, you start to notice a tower of black smoke darkening the beautiful blue sky. The castle is engulfed in flames! What in God's name could have happened? You scan the fleeing demons, but the Overlord isn't among them. Against your better judgment, you rush into the burning castle to find her. This girl is so brave! You quickly reach the Overlord's room, but the door is shut tight. The handle is too hot to touch. You're too weak to force it open. You pound your fists against the door helplessly. What were you thinking? This is all because you'd forgotten your role. Only a hero could pull this kind of thing off. You are a hero, girl. You start to cough. The smoke is too thick. You can hardly breathe. You realize you haven't got much time left now. You desperately head toward the stairs to save yourself. But the fire spread faster than you expected. You won't make it outside. You can't help but laugh. What a joke. A maiden saving the Overlord? If you just stayed true to your role, things wouldn't have ended like this. This is exactly the kind of punishment you deserve. You let the demon fire cleanse your rotten soul. Damn, girl! She's hardcore. Gosh, what do I want to do now? I guess I'll do that again. But I'm gonna grab the hero this time? That's interesting, because we've apparently got every ending as the hero, but we never had an ending where she dragged us along with her, so I'm curious about that. The underling is also still missing a trait. Okay. You boldly announce that you'll accompany the hero to prove yourself. You'd rather risk what's out there instead of staying in a village that doesn't trust you. He's like, whoa! No one seems to know how to react. You grab the hero by the wrist and take off before anyone stops you. But as you approach the castle, you notice something's gone terribly wrong. It appears to be on fire. Is the Overlord alright? You have to be sure everyone is safe. You've already taken off before the hero can even think of stopping you. And he my goodness, hero, what's the point of even taking you along? Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so... looking into the Matrix, what do we want to do right now? Okay. I mean, we can just decide to stay. It doesn't matter if the Overlord is antisocial. Do we do the possessive ending this turn? Sure, let's do possessive this turn. We'll leave you alone for right now. You can save us a little later. Let's go. The demon is put off by your sudden shouting and asks you to keep it down. You apologize. They seem more confused than hostile, which totally catches you off guard. I won't leave. As you think that, a hero enters the room. You're surprised to see him at first until you realize he must have been sent to retrieve you. Confused, the hero asks you what's going on. You explain the situation, reassuring him that you were never in any danger. The hero expresses his relief that this whole misunderstanding hadn't led to any horrible consequences. You apologize for causing trouble, but really, didn't anyone read the note you left? Jeez. The hero asks if you'll return to the village with him to give everyone the news of your safety. But the Overlord objects to the hero's suggestion. You tell her you plan on returning soon, but she isn't having it. You feel nervous. The hero puts on a brave face for you.
If you won't let her go, maybe you demons are evil after all. And if you are, I'll be forced to vanquish you.
You leave me no choice. The Overlord suddenly jumps the hero. She tears into him with her claws. You want to cry out, but the scream catches in your throat. You watch because you can't look away. Had she really been lying to you all along? You wonder, is this your punishment for questioning the divine plan? The Overlord approaches you now. You back yourself into a corner. Her expression is complicated. Being captured by the Overlord in a horrible way like this was your destiny after all. She vows to keep you very safe from now on. You're afraid to find out what that means, but there's no one left to save you. You belong to the Overlord now. Captured Maiden. Nice. Alright. Look at all that sweet progress we made. Only 5 endings away. Whoa! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like the only thing we're missing is one trait in here. I don't know what that is, but we'll figure it out. Maybe as we go along these other branches. Yeah, look at that though. We're getting there. And we got some secret letters. We're missing just 1. Okay. Well, I think that'll do it for right now, guys, but thank you very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed our foray into the Maiden endings, finally, after all this time. I really like her. She's a delight. All these characters are a delight. And Tragedy is very interesting. Getting more backstory there. I don't know what's going to happen once we get all the endings, and the Maiden's true ending as well. I'm going to try to save her true ending for last, hopefully. And then we'll see what happens after that. Anyway, thanks again for joining me. Until next time, I will see you later.